will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
that's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer.
Time.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't she ask Merrick Garland this?
I am reclaiming my time, and when I reclaim my time, it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady has reclaimed her time.
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say
I'll direct it to
what
you.
A massive cover-up.
No, I'm answering a question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness is interrupting.
I'm not going to get in the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time.
doing theatrics.
Let me.
So, Carol, what did you make of that exchange?
Ironic to hear the Attorney General say that she wasn't going to get in the gutter for a Congress member's theatrics. I'm paraphrasing her a little, Katie, but there was so much theatrics in everything that the Attorney General did. You know, the banner behind her during this hearing was called "The Oversight of the Department of Justice." There was no oversight. This hearing had nothing in it because she didn't answer any questions. She came essentially as if she were coming to the Jerry Springer show with a folding chair to throw at members of Congress who, whether they be Democrat or Republican, are all supposed to be in the role of asking the Department of Justice pressing questions on behalf of the American people. The Jerry Springer quality to this hearing was really striking. As somebody who's covered hearings before, we know there is some performance, of course, by members and by witnesses to score their particular points. But this was a little bit like a wrestling match on television. We know that Donald Trump really likes to see this kind of combative behavior, to come out swinging, and that is what the Attorney General, who has been on thin ice for some months, that is what she delivered today.
Yeah, I mean, at Jerry Springer show, if the guest came on and also was declaring that Jerry Springer was the most incredible human to ever exist, the best host that television has ever seen, hosting the most successful and well-respected show ever put on television. I mean, and I say that because there was a ton of moments, but one in particular where she just went off just out of nowhere about the Dow that was so out of place and so strange, it is worth playing again. So let's watch that.
They tried to impeach him twice, and you, Mr. Nadler, were one of the leads on the impeachment. I was on the other side. I lived that with you. During impeachment, you said the president conspired, sought foreign interference in the 2016 election. Robert Mueller found no evidence, none, of foreign interference in 2016. Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump? You all should be apologizing. You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. You know, all they want to do, the American people need to know this. They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million, and Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them ask Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. and the NASDAQ smashing records.
David, is that effective?
It's effective for the audience of one. I mean, if you've watched a cabinet meeting recently, and they're all televised, this is what they do. They go around in a circle and they praise dear leader and extol him as the greatest president in American history. And look, that's fine. Look, there are a lot of people that really like Trump. There are a lot of voters that like Trump. And I can imagine if you work for him, you have a special appreciation for him. I think the problem is we're in a hearing here that's designed for congressional oversight. And number one, Congress really has no interest in oversight, right? So we occasionally get a hearing that will conduct actual, real oversight and ask questions. The theatrics have gotten so bad, and this was just a particular example, that the writers at Saturday Night Live are going to be out of a job. And, I think, and seriously, I don't think there's anything they could do with today's hearing if they choose to do it this coming week that requires any embellishment on their part to show that it's a comedy show. But I think part of what we're seeing on our screen today and in other hearings is the fact that, one, Congress really doesn't have any interest in exerting the power given to it by the Constitution. They exist as a sort of quasi-parliament to support the president as long as that president is of their party. Number two, I think it shows to some degree a lack of seriousness on the part of many members of Congress, because, look, you can take issue with Attorney General Pam Bondi, but some of the so-called questioning from the Democratic members of the Judiciary Committee wasn't questioning at all. It was grandstanding, and to a very high degree. And look, secondly, I think that what we're seeing from Pam Bondi is just a lot of political speak and not even an attempt to really explain, let alone defend the Justice Department's actions and agenda, right? Like, you could see a scenario where she might say, here is why we're no longer prosecuting these crimes or emphasizing them, but this is why we're doing this. Here's why we're handling the Epstein files the way we're handling them. Like, there's a number of things you could do while still supporting the president and his agenda, which any cabinet member will do, that still conveys information to the public and to members of Congress who have to fund the executive branch. And she clearly showed no interest in that, but I think that's because the administration has no interest in doing so.
Yeah, but we did see that with Marco Rubio the other day when he was on Capitol Hill talking to House Intel, or it was Foreign Affairs, one of the two. He was combative at times, but he did answer questions. And there was a respect between him and the other lawmakers that we just Greg, we don't see any respect there whatsoever. She doesn't, I'm just curious why she thinks this is a good thing for the department itself, because the department, as all institutions, it needs the trust of the American people, and I don't know how this helps rebuild trust for anybody who might have lost it over the past few decades.
Yeah, Katie, it clearly is the intentional strategy of this Attorney General and this administration to conduct themselves at hearings like this. That we've seen this pattern play out over and over, but it is very, very different from decades past. Nothing that we've ever seen. I've been watching Congress, particularly from a DOJ perspective, for a long time. We've never seen anything like this. And the word theatrics was mentioned a couple of times on this show, and was actually mentioned by the witness at least once, and at least one committee member. And that pretty well sums it up. This is theatrics, as Carol indicated earlier. This really is not about oversight anymore, and hasn't been for quite some time. And the us versus them, quite frankly, used to be Congress versus the executive branch, and oversight was taken seriously and done mostly in a bipartisan manner. Hearings, as we all know, have had partisan moments forever, but mostly partisan arguments were not part of oversight hearings. It was a very bipartisan effort, but we didn't see that today. We haven't seen it lately. It's important, I think, for Congress to get back to that eventually for the sake of the Republic and the interests of American voters. But that's not what today was about.